Chief reporter Kaveh Solokol has come back on set. Kaveh, oh my goodness, how do you react to that?
Well, look, the first thing you should say is that referees are human beings. They make mistakes like everybody else. They were working there in a very highly pressurised environment, and they made a mistake, and it was a big mistake, and the eyes of the world were on them, and now they are paying the consequences.
Arsenal entered their clash with Brentford aiming to build momentum and strengthen their position in an increasingly unpredictable Premier League season, but what unfolded quickly turned into yet another night where the football seemed secondary to the decisions shaping it. From the very first whistle, there was a sense of urgency in Arsenal's approach, a belief that controlling possession and dictating the tempo would be enough to break down a physical Brentford side. The atmosphere was charged, the fans energized, and the players looked focused, but the narrative shifted dramatically in ways nobody anticipated. The game grew tense early, with both teams battling for control in midfield, trading tackles and testing each other's defensive resolve. Arsenal looked sharper, moving the ball quickly and pressing high, forcing Brentford into rushed clearances and misplaced passes. The pressure seemed to be building toward a breakthrough, but football is often defined by moments rather than momentum, and this match was no exception. A driving Arsenal attack led to a collision inside the penalty area that sparked immediate appeals from the home side. The reaction from the players was instinctive. They believed they had been fouled, and they expected intervention. Instead, they were met with silence. VAR refused to engage, the referee waved play on, and the match carried on without pause, leaving Arsenal players stunned. The decision seemed confusing to those on the pitch, and infuriating to fans watching both live and at home. Replays circulated online within seconds, accompanied by comments that ranged from disbelief to outright anger. The Premier League's use of technology, designed to remove controversy, had once again created its own storyline. For Arsenal, the emotional impact was immediate. Their fast, calculated approach began to give way to frustration. Passes became rushed, shots became wild, and the calm, methodical style that had defined their early play slowly dissolved into anxious attempts to regain control. Brentford, sensing vulnerability, began to settle into the match. They pushed higher, challenged harder, and played with a level of confidence that had been missing in the opening stages. Their defensive shape tightened, their counters became sharper, and they looked increasingly comfortable absorbing pressure. The denial of the penalty didn't simply wipe away a scoring opportunity, it tilted the mental balance of the entire game. Arsenal's intensity turned into desperation, while Brentford's survival instinct evolved into aggression. Time-wasting tactics appeared, tactical fouls slipped through unnoticed, and the sense of injustice inside the stadium grew louder with every passing minute. It was less a match and more a boiling point waiting to explode. Despite their frustration, Arsenal continued to fight, creating chances and testing the goalkeeper. But football is a game where emotions matter just as much as ability, and every missed chance felt heavier than the last. The crowd tried to lift the players, urging them forward, demanding a response, but even the most passionate supporters couldn't shake the feeling that the match had been altered long before the final whistle. Brentford's defensive resilience deserves credit. They threw bodies in front of shots, tracked runners tirelessly, and refused to allow Arsenal the space they needed to build meaningful attacks. They weren't the better footballing side, but they were disciplined, organized, and unrelenting. That was enough to frustrate Arsenal, especially in a match where the home side felt they had been denied a moment that could have set the tone for the entire night. When the final whistle blew, Arsenal players wore expressions of exhaustion and disbelief. The coaching staff offered calm but loaded comments, refusing to escalate the situation publicly but hinting strongly at their frustrations. Brentford celebrated a hard-earned result, even if they understood that the night's narrative wasn't about them. The post-match conversation immediately shifted to VAR, refereeing standards, and the growing problem of inconsistency in decision-making across the league. Supporters flooded social media with opinions, videos, and comparisons, highlighting examples from other matches where similar incidents had resulted in penalties without hesitation. They questioned the reliability of the system, the competence of officials, and the lack of clarity surrounding decisions that carry such massive consequences. The frustration wasn't simply about one call, it was about what that call represented, a system that too often feels unpredictable, opaque, and detached from the realities of the game. Arsenal will move forward, as every team must, but their supporters will remember this match not for what happened on the pitch, but for what didn't. The team showed resilience, fight, and flashes of quality, but the emotional and competitive damage had already been done long before stoppage time. Football may pride itself on drama, but when controversy becomes the centerpiece of the sport, something feels deeply wrong. This match will be added to the growing list of nights where Arsenal fans walked away frustrated not with their team, but with the forces that shape the game from beyond the grass. The season is long, and opportunities remain, but there is a lingering sense that progress is being undermined by errors that shouldn't exist in an era of technology and review systems. Until those problems are addressed, nights like this one will continue to define the conversation, overshadow achievements, and leave supporters asking the question they already know the answer to: why does this keep happening? Please like this video and subscribe.